Hello everybody, my name's James. Welcome to the Planet FPL Gameweek 34 Deadline stream in partnership with FPL Team. And it's live. FPL Team is your best one-stop shop for all your future planning. Might be particularly useful for those who, like me, who are going to be on wildcard in around about 2 hours from now. But we are circa 58 minutes away from the double Gameweek 34 deadline. Let me take you through graphics before I get into the questions. I'll try and answer as many of your dilemmas as possible ahead of the 1:30 p.m. UK time deadline. Top right hand corner of the screen, you will see my free hit team. It is as follows: Neto in goal, Munoz, Van Dijk and Gabriel, Bukayo Saka, captain Mohamed Salah, Martin Odegaard, Ebe Eze, Luis Diaz. Up front, Jean-Philippe Mateta and Dominic Solanke. I have a bench of Antoine Semenyo and defensive Everton players. Let me ask the first one. Why Neto over Pickford? It's quite simple. It's an all-in strategy. None of my players this week are playing against each other. I'm going for it. I feel like I kind of need to with where I'm at. Although it just naturally landed that way, I think, with the want for Arsenal, Liverpool and Crystal Palace players. On Liverpool players, I've not got confidence in any one of them starting twice. That even includes Van Dijk, actually. I'm sure Van Dijk probably will start twice, but my confidence, Luis Diaz, you think he's going to start twice? No, not really, actually. But it's going to be more expected minutes, and it's going to be more minutes than your average single game week player. So I did want to go Cunha. That was the plan. Those who listened to our Patreon podcast yesterday morning would know I was going to go Cunha. That's forced a number of changes. I was going to go Trent, changed my mind on that. Basics, I need to get an extra offensive player in. I didn't want to go all offensive Palace, actually. So it's treble Arsenal, treble Liverpool, treble Palace and double Bournemouth. That's where I'm at. Below my team, which again you'll see top right hand corner of the screen, and there's no reason to think that I'm going to change that unless someone gives me some information that's going to change that, and I don't expect it. Bottom right hand corner of the screen, you will see my predicted lineups for the 19 teams playing this game week in their first game. I have not predicted who's going to play in midweek for Arsenal and Liverpool. I've predicted the lineups based on the first games, but it does include predicted lineups for those single game week teams who do play in midweek, such as Chelsea, Manchester United, Newcastle, and so on. Like Brighton, Man City. I think that's it. I think. To the left of me, you'll see my correct score predictions for all 13 games this week. That will scroll round against my top captaincy picks for the game week. It's Salah, Saka, Eze is the order for me. Where's Kai Havertz so low down? I've got a sneaky feeling, it's just a personal opinion, it's not anything I know, I got a sneaky feeling that he might not start tonight. He's not in my predicted Arsenal team. Right at the bottom of the screen, you'll see the remaining fixtures for all 20 teams going across the ticker at the bottom. Blue fixtures indicate a double game week, and above that you'll see the benching dilemmas. They run in order, pages 1 to 4 of outfield players, with goalkeepers on page 5. They run in order left to right. The player with the tick is the preferred option to start. As I said, they run in order, pages 1 to 4, and then goalkeepers on page 5. Right, that's the necessities out the way and the graphics done. If your question is answered on screen, you might want to do the courtesy of deleting your question. I will still very kindly give you the shout out. Let's get into the questions. Ben Eddington is first. Says, hi mate, hope all is well. Not a question, but thank you Ben, good luck. And yes, all good, thank you mate. Callum says, afternoon James, hope you're well. Down to 3 players to choose on free hit: goalkeeper, defender and midfielder. 1 Arsenal, 1 Palace spot remaining. What would you recommend? I don't know what the rest of your players are, mate. So you got a goalkeeper, defender, midfielder, right? So 1 Palace, Eze, 1 Arsenal, Gabriel, 1 goalkeeper, Neto. But you might already have them players, mate. Sam Jones says, hi James, hope you're well. I'm at 500k and want to chase upside. Any picks in this punt free hit that you rate? He's listed his whole team there. Yeah, Munoz I've got. I mean, look, here's the thing. People saying, who should I pick on free hit? Right, my team's on screen. That's what I think's the best team. Otherwise, I'd have picked something else, wouldn't I? So I think that team's going to finish number 1 in the world. It's obviously not, right? But that's my selection. So if anyone's saying, who should I put in on free hit? Like, it's there on screen what my choices are. And there are a few differentials in there. Billy Taylor says, howdy Jimbo, use my free transfer to go Haaland to Mateta. Would you take a -4 to bring in a second Arsenal defender for Doughty or Pau Torres? Or just play one of them? No chips remaining. Yep, don't mind the hit in a double game week, mate. That's fine. Yeah, I'd go with a second Arsenal player. I mean, the way that the Wolves team news has landed now, Arsenal really should be winning pretty comfortably tonight. Tony McBride says, good morning, James. Free hitting this week, chasing Captain Eze. But outside of that, have you got a bold punt? Feeling brave. Also have Brereton Diaz. Good luck for the game week. Hello to the fam. Look, here's the thing, right? So I think many of us on free hit are going to go quite heavy Arsenal, Liverpool, Palace. Then it's about fitting in your odds and sods. The lack of forwards means nearly all free hitters are going to land on Dominic Solanke, and those carrying through, a lot of them will have Dominic Solanke, so it doesn't leave a lot of spots available. If people want to go Ben Brereton Diaz, I really don't mind that. I throw a different punt out there if people want it. Is Justin Kluivert of Bournemouth. I mentioned a number of times this week. He's 4.6. The underline's quite good recently. The injuries in the rest of the squad means I think there's a good probability of him actually getting 2 starts, as good as any Liverpool player, for example. So I don't mind that. But still, you're going to pick like a Kluivert over a Diaz or an Odegaard, or like, how are you going to do it? That's all. That's my personal take on it. Now, if you're going something like double Arsenal defence and double Liverpool defence, then fitting in a Kluivert or a Brereton Diaz makes way more sense. And I'm cool with it if that's the sort of player you want to go with. I guess the glaring one from Palace is obviously Elise. My concern with Elise is literally Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, and he's just come back from injury. That's my concern. If people want to go Elise, he was very much under consideration for me. Got no problem with that. It's obviously a good pick as well. Can't have them all. Ben Edinson says, from benching dilemmas, I assume you still think Garnacho still plays. Yeah, my take on Garnacho would be, Ten Hag spoke about it yesterday. He said that they move on now, so is Garnacho a certainty to start? Well, no, because we've got an FA Cup semi-final on Sunday, and if he ends up playing 120 minutes and it's Sheffield United as the fixture, there's still going to be an element of doubt about that. That's why I have concern for bench boosters this week who have Chelsea, Manchester City, Manchester United players, because they play in the Cup semi-finals this weekend. So, but if all goes well Sunday, then yeah, I think he plays, mate. JP says, hi mate, what is your ideal triple up on Arsenal, LFC, Crystal Palace players for free hits on the screen, mate? Stevie J10 says, hi James, cheers for the great content. Bench one of Haaland, Foden or Semenyo. I've gone Semenyo as kind of forward on the bench for me. I think I'd play him, actually, Semenyo. So from that, Foden, unfortunately, mate. JP says, what's your predicted minutes for Elise in both games? 100, roughly. Nathan says, hi James, is punting on Eze captain too risky, or is it best to just play it safe with Salah, company ranked at 200k, and feel like I'm stuck in the mud? Well, you're in a similar rank to me, Nathan, and doing a bit better than me. I'm about 230k. I've gone Salah. So, weeks to take on. I didn't feel like I wanted to do it this one, despite the fact there's no great confidence in Salah's performances at the moment. They still know what the capability is. And he's as likely as any Liverpool attacker to start twice, right? So that's the way I've gone. Stevie J10 says, best Arsenal or Liverpool midfielder this week other than Salah, Saka, and would you play them over Mateta? So for me, I've gone Odegaard for Arsenal and I've gone Luis Diaz from Liverpool. Would I have played them over Mateta? I mean, trying to think of the situation here where you wouldn't just play all of them. Mateta, those 3 players, if you've got this week, they're all starting. You ain't putting any of them on the bench, are you? Kenneth Vaz says, on free hit, Elise and Neto or Henderson and Brereton Diaz. Look, I've got Neto and I guess Elise was close, so it's that option. Nasu says, who you think gets more minutes in double game, Odegaard or Havertz? Odegaard, as I explained near the start, on Havertz. Richie Richards says, in what circumstances does a triple game week occur in FPL? Well, it won't this, but it's basically it's quite a simple answer is if a team's got 3 games in 1 week, mate. That's a normal week, so it's not going to happen this week. And there's a good chance, based on the FA Cup announcement midweek, there's a good chance it's never going to happen again, unfortunately. Ben Edinson says, need 3 to start from Ray and Aït-Nouri, Branthwaite, Palmer, Garnacho and Gordon. I fancy Palmer and he might be as big of a diff. He'll be formed now to end the season, unsure on the others though. I'd go Palmer over Aït-Nouri. Branthwaite I'd probably stick in the team over Gordon, I think. So I'd probably do it that way. Firik says Aït-Nouri or Robertson for a hit. Also, Aït-Nouri to Robertson for it. Also, even if the answer is no, what are your thoughts on Robertson this week and his minutes? Like most Liverpool players, not sure we can expect him to start twice. You've got Gomez can play left back, Shimikas can play left back. You've got to factor in that Liverpool play Sunday afternoon, having played Thursday, then play Wednesday night, then play Saturday lunchtime, and they're all away from home. The luckiest best case scenario here is, let's say you go 8-0 to Robertson for a hit, right, and you get 2 starts from Robertson. He probably doesn't start at West Ham. Now, on your basis, I'm going to assume that maybe you're carrying through. You might not be, right? But to guarantee you 2 starts. No, I don't think he does start both, actually. Gavin Richardson says, hey, babes, I'm excited. 34 free hit, 35 wildcard, 37 bench boost. Any love for B. Ciaz? I presume it's meant to be Diaz. As a differential 8th attacker. Maybe Chris Richards in defence. White over Saliba. Thoughts. Love COTC this week. Thank you. Which one? Both of them. Cheers. Good. Yeah, I don't mind Brereton Diaz, as I mentioned. On Chris Richards, I think what's telling from Oliver Glasner's press conference yesterday is he said Holding had been training all week, and he said Chris Richards was back in training, and he referenced that Robert Holding would definitely be in the squad. He didn't say that about Chris Richards, so in terms of a punt, no. There'll be plenty of people carrying through, and I think you just play that and you keep your fingers crossed, basically. But in terms of on a free hit, no. And there's no need. If you're on a free hit, the money is not a problem. You're going to have money spare. My team's got about 5 million in the bank. Nasu says, who do you think starts both games for Liverpool? Alisson. Nathan said, on free hit, when putting on a third Liverpool asset, do you prefer Trent or Diogo Jota? Trent. Just because Jota's not far back from injury, it would be a surprise, in my opinion, if Jota started Fulham and Everton, whereas like Trent, in seriousness, I could foresee it. Carmen Petrov says, hi James, hope you and your family are well. Would you take a -4 to remove Gordon for Havertz / Luis Diaz / Odegaard? I'm on wildcard 35 with the idea to buy back Gordon. Well, look, if the value of Gordon doesn't matter when you sell, then yes. And the preference from that lot for me is Odegaard. Mark Minshall says, who'd start, Aït-Nouri or Konsa? Aït-Nouri, mate. And pray. That's the answer. Chris Wood says, hi James, why is Munoz so many people's preferred Palace defender? On the eye, pretty much, getting himself into good positions. I think to compare him to Tyreek Mitchell as well, because of the injuries to Jefferson Lerma and Joe Ward being a doubt, there is a small chance as well that Tyreek Mitchell, and I say small chance Tyreek Mitchell might end up playing left-sided centre-back. I covered that on the Team News stream last night for our patrons. I don't think that will happen. But Munoz over Mitchell's pretty straightforward for me. Q Mitchell having a mad one. And he is also getting in some good positions. But Munoz, in terms of the Palace defence, it's just a more exciting one to own, isn't it? It really is. So that's why. Richie Richards says, Santiago or Hugo Bueno, the better bench? I don't think it matters, mate, because the chances are your bench players ain't getting off the bench this week, mate. Santiago will almost definitely play twice with the Dawson injury. Uros Milicevic says, hi James, on bench boost this game week, should I replace Aït-Nouri for -4 or risk it and hope he starts against Bournemouth? If so, who would you get instead? I have VVD, Gabriel, Branthwaite, Munoz, Ray and Pickford. You're pretty well set. I mean, look, if you can get to another Arsenal defender, if you don't have 3 already, then I would do it. Otherwise, I probably wouldn't bother and I'd just run with it, mate. JP says, 3 must-buys on Sky Fantasy this week. I don't know about must-buys. I can tell you, for me, Bruno Fernandes is certainly part of the plan, and Alexander Isak is certainly start of the plan. For reference, that's next Wednesday. In terms of must of others, wouldn't say there is. It's probably more like, have you still got your Arsenal-Liverpool coverage for the next couple? So if you didn't have Salah, I'd still want to buy on Sunday. Eze is one you can throw into the mix, but it's probably an on and then off again. John says, good luck this week, mate. Best defender from Bournemouth, please, for the bench on free hit. Cheers. So I don't have Kirkes in my predicted Bournemouth lineup. However, as discussed on COTC on Tuesday and on the main podcast on Monday, it's not beyond reason that he plays as a left winger. But I actually haven't got him in the team at all for the Villa game. Pretty sure he'll start the Wolves game. Just think they might go a little bit more defensive at fullback with Kelly. And I can see the 3 behind Solanke at Villa tomorrow being Cliver, Utara and Semenyo, which would mean he would miss out. But that's by far the most exciting one. Truthfully, it's the same one as it was back in Gameweek 28. If you're unsure, it's Senesi, mate. James Brennan says, hi James, wants to go really rogue till the end. Thoughts on Son, Ortega and Haaland to Mateta, Harmer and Raya from -4. Have Saliba and Gabriel and we'll get Haaland back for 36. Cheers. Like, Harmer is fine, but I wouldn't be picking him over Brereton Diaz. In terms of getting Mateta and Raya in, I can't question that. That's fine. You want to go rogue? I mean, you want to go rogue? Who am I to tell you not to go rogue? Motta says, bro, are we the Farmers League? No, we're not the Farmers League. This is what happens when English teams have a really bad year in Europe. They'll tend to really dominate in the next one. Patrick Clivett says, on free hit, do you think Robertson will start both games? Covered this. Also, Elise and White or Odegaard and Mitchell. Preferences the Odegaard route. Nerd says, is it viable going with double Arsenal and poor defence over their attacks? Expected minutes guarantee and would allow triple Palace and Brereton Diaz in attack instead. Of course it is, mate. Of course it is. I mean, look, let's look at this realistically, right? Defence is shit. You look at my predicted scores for this week. I predicted a clean sheet for Manchester United and a clean sheet for Arsenal. That's it. So, like, you know, go with whatever you want defensively, mate. That's fine. MRCX says, hey James, hope you have a great day. You too. Jerry Domingue says, hello James, how do you rate Eze captain as a differential option for someone who's chasing rank? Right now I'm 990k and aiming to finish top 500k. Good luck for this game week, mate. Perfectly reasonable if you fancy it, mate. Sorry, there's going to be a lot of really kind of basic, obvious answers this week, mate. There really is, because the way people are looking is so focused, laser focused towards essentially 3 teams. Hasselbank is win says, favourite ever opposition player and why? Favourite ever opposition player and why? Lionel Messi, Barcelona, best of all time. Rhett says, hi James, any thoughts to captain Trent this week based on your convo with Dan on COTC? Hit the like button all. Nah, not even got him on a top 10, to be honest. I really wanted to go there. I didn't feel like I could justify him over Van Dijk because, in all seriousness, Van Dijk is highly likely to play twice, whereas Trent is only likely, and also with restricted minutes. For Van Dijk, I'm probably getting 180. I just couldn't really justify it when I'm looking at Trent going, well, that's the best case here. Is it 130, 140? Couldn't really justify it when, you know, Trent could easily assist from a corner and it's Van Dijk heads it in, right? So, in terms of captaincy, you want to go that way as a differential. I'm not going to massively put you off, but certainly, had I got him in, he wouldn't have been a consideration for the armband for me. JFPL says, afternoon, James, Darwin or Trent for a free hit? Preference would be with Trent. The thing with Trent is, and this is what really, really tempted me, was just that I can. And knowing that those who are not on free hit will find it very difficult to get there / justify bringing him in. And I knew it was a potential advantage, but not enough of an advantage for me to force it in, basically. But had Cunha been fit, the intention was to go Trent. I was going to go Trent and Van Dijk. It's Cunha being out meant I wanted to get a different attacking player in. There was nothing else from Wolves I wanted. It made way more sense at that juncture for me personally to go double Arsenal attack and double Liverpool attack. I could have, of course, gone triple Palace attack and stuck with that. I decided not to. Bertica says, hey James, if you have 8 Nori, do you risk playing him or would you take a -4 to get another double game with defender? But it depends on what. So I think like an Arsenal player, yeah, cool. If you could get the Van Dijk, yeah, probably yes as well. Otherwise, it's probably a no, mate. MRCX says, played a free hit despite having 8 doublers without it or save for game week 38. Depends what those 8 doublers are though, right? You're sitting there and you've got like, you know, no Palace, you've got Connor Bradley and shit like that, then it's play it, isn't it? So how many times do I say this? It's not the how many, it's the who, right? Only you can see what the who are, right? It's very difficult for me to advise what's better just on, I've got 8 doublers. I mean, who's the single game week players as well? If it's like Watkins, Hall and Palmer, then it's pretty good, isn't it? So depends what you've got, mate. Ben M says, cheers as always. Play McAllister or Palmer. Rest of team doublers bar Haaland. Thank you. Reality is, if you've got a Liverpool player this weekend, he's playing. And that's the end of the conversation as far as I'm concerned. Yahia says, wildcard 35, bench boost 37. Would you do 8 Norrie to Munoz for a hit? Already own triple Arsenal and VVD. Alternatives would be playing him or playing Taylor. Sheffield United doesn't seem to be nailed anymore. No, it's not. I've not got him in my predicted Burnley lineup. I would probably just roll with it with 8 Norrie and hope for the best. Jerry says, non-FPL question. If England were to play in a penalty shootout in Euros, do you think Kane, Tony, Palmer or Locks? If so, who are the other 2 takers that should make it to top 5? Jude, because he's just got immense confidence. Harry Maguire took a great one in the Euro finals. You'd be pretty comfortable with John Stones. I think Declan Rice you'd be pretty comfortable with. Saka obviously takes enough for Arsenal. I know, yes, he missed in the Euro final, but he takes enough for Arsenal, doesn't he? So, I mean, there's plenty. I really wouldn't stress about that. We should get to a position where we've got 5 decent takers on the pitch. Kieran Trippier, I would always be comfortable if he took a penalty, if he's on the pitch at the time. Trent, if he's on the pitch at the time, you'd be really comfortable in. It's loads, actually. Even Pickford in that Nations League game with Switzerland a couple years ago took a great penalty. So I don't think for takers we're going to be in, stressing. I doubt it. John says, hi James, what is your estimated minutes for Jota and Trent? Thanks. Trent. See, the thing is as well, I could see this kind of being like 265s at 130, and that might be great. I can also see it being like a 75 plus like a 30 or something like that. It's probably in like the 120 ballpark. Jota, I think, is less. Jota's less. I think Jota's around the sort of 90 to 100 mark, personally. For Son, babe. You ain't playing. John says, that's what I've done. Steve Greenwell says, hi James, in which order for minutes concerns? Haaland, 8 Nori, Branthwaite on bench boost with 2 FTs. It would mean in which order for minutes in terms of, well, I suppose Haaland's the biggest at the moment. But I don't think it was ever any intention for him to play this weekend, so I wouldn't be surprised if he's fine for next week on Thursday, in which case you can expect 90. Branthwaite, I think, be 180. I think he'll play. 8 Nori, you'd be lucky if you get the 90, wouldn't you? Gavin Richardson says, COTC this week has massively put me off so many Liverpool players. Can't see past Alisson, VVD and Salah, to be honest. It's Diaz for Elise for me. Elise X minute / injury record isn't clever, though. I've made my position pretty clear on Liverpool assets, Gavin, but I still think you need to go free. And I also think, sure, Alisson, I get that. Alisson, VVD, Salah, most secure. Fucking boring, though, isn't it? Really is, mate. Punt something, pal. Jonathan says, hi James, looking at going Foden over Eze on free hit. On a scale of 1 to 10, how much is this a bad idea? I think my eyes told you the story when I was reading it out loud. I can't justify that. You couldn't even guarantee Foden will start next Thursday. It's 5 days away. It's Eze all day, mate. I can't justify that. Sorry. I would be... Let me put it this way. If you want to do it, do it. I would be a nutter to advise it. Triple Trapped In says, hi, James. Who do you think will be high scoring out of Bruno and Haaland this week? They'll both get about 6. If you got Haaland, play Haaland, mate. If that's your dilemma. JP says Munoz, Darwin versus Mateta and VVD. Thoughts? Can't decide. Well, I've gone for 3 of them on my free hit team, mate. It's on the screen, so you'll get my answer from there. Swiss Wavy says, afternoon all. Best of luck. Hit those thumbs. Yes. Be much appreciated, guys. For those watching live, if you could smash a like, that's kind of roughly sort of about 15% of you have done it so far. It doesn't cost anything. This stream is free. Who's next? Ham34 Mur wants to put shit in capital letters. Says 8 Nori or Maguire. 8 Nori, mate. Just go for it with a doubler. Doyle Price says, hi James, just want to say thanks. I'm an American in their first year and I've basically beaten my English family members, and now my West Ham fan uncle is going to have to wear a Declan Rice Arsenal. Wow, I'm very sorry for your uncle. Congratulations on your success this season. There is 5 weeks to go, though. Ian from Melbourne says, good luck for your free hit, James. Thanks for the content this week. It's free to hit that like all. Up the shrimpers. Good luck, Ian. Adam says, how many points do you think City win the league by, James? And how far do you think third finishes behind second now? Oh, I mean, it's kind of asking me to predict every game, isn't it? Let's say City win it by 4 points. Let's say. Let's go with that. City clean sheet at Tottenham, for irony of ironies. City win it by 4 points. Based on me predicting Arsenal maybe to drop points on Tuesday night. I'm also predicting Liverpool to drop points tomorrow. Yeah, Arsenal to finish above Liverpool. Perhaps, yeah, another couple ahead. Maybe 3 more. I can see Liverpool losing at Villa in 37 if they're out of the race, for example. So let's say City 4 to Arsenal, another 3 to Liverpool. Let's do it like that. There's maybe a fair guess. Hobby Addicts this afternoon, James. Would you play Palmer over Garnacho? I'm happy with the rest of my team. No, I'd go with Garnacho, mate. Hobby Addicts this afternoon, James. Would you play? Such a good question. I asked it twice. Torfig Yusuf says, "Hey Jimbo, on free hit, the last 2 transfers going to be Mitchell and Odegaard, or should I go White and Eze?" Okay. Priority for me personally, out of the 2 big ones there in midfield, would be with Eze. So I'm going to say White and Eze. Andrew Sands says, "Hi James, Darwin and Porro to Trent and Mateta for free means I can bench 8 Nori, would mean a -4 next game week to get Jackson and Johnson." That's perfectly fine, mate. Shout out Ollie Smith, James Wright. Thank you guys, hope you're well. Greg Williams says, "Current bench is Strakosha, Foden, Lewis and Gusto. 7.7 million in the bank. Would you -8 to get a good bench boost? If so, who? Have 3 Liverpool and Arsenal ready. Hit the likes, people. If you've already got that in place, then I don't think it's worth it, mate. Don't think it's worth it. Essentially, look at my team on screen. Would you bench boost that? Treble Everton defence. And Semenyo. My opinion, no. There'll be plenty of set up really well this week. And that's fine. Would I be taking a -8 to get to that bench boost at this stage? No. Meninda says, add in Havertz, Odegaard for -4 to cap and bench Palmer. I'm chasing. We'll just cap Salah and play Palmer. No hit. No, I mean, get another Arsenal player would be the advice. But still captain Salah for me. Steve says, "Hi James, should I go Gordon out for Diaz or Dawson to Trent VVD? Wildcard next week. Thanks." Well, depends, right? Have you got any concern about single game week players where you might need that bench? If so, I'd probably prefer the Liverpool defensive. But personally, I'm going to prefer Diaz, I think. Josh Tellin says, "Hey James, no free hit 34, but I'm on wildcard 35. 2 FTs. Son to Eze's locked. Then one of Dubravka to Alisson or Livramento to VVT. Would have to play Dubravka or Livramento based on above move or do all 3 transfers for -4. So he's getting 2 Liverpool in for a -4 over 2 singlers. Yeah, I'd do both, mate. Yep, do both for the -4. Shout out Joe Finley Batter. Hope you're well. Okay, wife. Whatever makes you happy. We are half hour from deadline, by the way, guys. Can't answer that, Andrew. Sorry, mate. I've got no way of actually looking at this moment in time. I appreciate the message, mate. It probably is your telly, mate. Unless someone tells me otherwise. Carmen, put the question in the general channel on Slack. Carmen Petrovic says, "Would you start Branthwaite or Zabani? I don't feel like taking a -4 for a defender, even on a double." Reluctantly, Zabani. David James Whiteway says, "Love your pods, mate. Martinelli to Eze takes me to -8. I can understand the desire for it, but then you're only 2 Arsenal. I wouldn't probably. Rudy Vismus says, "Afternoon, James. Thanks for the top content this week. Your graph so hard and it's much appreciated. Have a good weekend." Thank you, Rudy. You too. Espen Selbach says, "Hi, James. Thanks for great content. Any thoughts on my dilemma? Trent Elise versus Munoz Diaz. Thanks." Clues on screen, mate, of what I've got on free hit. So that's going to be my answer, mate. Joe Finley Batter says, "Morning, James. You convinced me on the all-in strategy. Neto starts over Pickford." Sorry in advance, Joe. Adiror Direj says, "Which teams to avoid in a free hit with 9 yellow card players?" Doesn't matter, mate. Doesn't matter. The only players on 9 yellow cards who can get suspended now are Chelsea players. That's because their game at Arsenal is their 32nd game. Everyone else is in the clear. You don't need to worry about it. And obviously, Chelsea only play once. It's irrelevant to this specific week as you're on a free hit. If you are buying why would you be buying a Chelsea player this week? That wouldn't make any sense. So it doesn't matter. Rick D says, hi James, hope you're well, my friend. Why have you gone VVD over Trent? Just minutes. Also Neto versus Pickford on free hit. You favour Neto, thanks. So Neto covered near the start, all in strategy. It's literal, simple as that. If you prefer Pickford, cool, crack on. Yeah, it's minutes. It's minutes. And again, I wouldn't be surprised if VVD doesn't start one. But the reality is there is a high probability of 180 minutes. He is their direct biggest threat from set plays. That's the sensible pick. Trent was very tempting. He was close, but he would have been with VVD. I was never really not going with VVD. James Wright says, smash the like all Robertson and Havertz or White and Jota. I don't love either. What I would say is this. I think if you asked any other person here, they would probably say Robertson and Havertz. Jay Barker this afternoon, James Raya and Munoz or Henderson and White. Prefer Raya and Munoz on minutes. Jerry Darmayu says, another non-FPL question. With first to fourth in the championship separated by 5 points, who do you think locks top 2 automatic promoted spots from Ipswich, Leicester, Leeds and Southampton? I still think there's a strong possibility that it will be Leicester and Leeds, personally. Leicester are playing now, aren't they? Against West Brom, and they are winning 1-0, I can tell you. A goal from Wilfred and Diddy after 22 minutes. Baron Bain says, hi James, quick one for you. Who would you bench, Foden or Palmer? Foden. No, Palmer. I've got them next to each other on the bench in dilemmas. Palmer. There you go. That's how close it is anyway. Andy S says, would you bench boost with Pickford, Palmer, Aitnori and Haaland? Big thanks. You don't think you can get something better in a different game week? Then yes. Jonathan Jumps says, hi James, would you sell Richards, Aitnori or both for a hit? Tempted to do both. Maybe. Maybe not. It's really difficult, that. Because with Richards, we got very little information. Told you, Glasner said Holding would be in the squad. He didn't say that would be the case for Richards. But then Richards could still start against Newcastle midweek. And like, is that enough to justify not taking a hit? I think the answer here lies, Jonathan, like Arsenal, Liverpool players, otherwise don't bother. But also, you probably want to move one in case you end up with nothing this week, right? Neil Kager says, thanks, James. Hit like people. Thank you, Neil. Always see you, mate. Good man. Andrew Kennedy says, McBurney to start twice. Wouldn't bank on it, mate. But also, if you're looking at Oliver McBurney for your fantasy team, I would suggest you probably reach the depths of log out, mate. Steve J10 says, -4 options. Branthwaite to VVD. Haaland to Mateta. Foden to Odegaard. Any appeal? Yeah, there's appeal. Wildcard next week. Don't mind it, Stevie. It's fine. Dom Dewsbury says, I've went with Bruno over Eze, just not feeling the Palace hype. Cool, good luck. John MacArthur says, hey there, James. In Sky, why is Wednesday being called a moving day? Got one plan, Isak, but apart from that, can't anything. I'll have 10 left. Many thanks. You got more than me, mate, and I'll be probably making 4 moves on Wednesday. There'll be a couple of Newcastle. There'll be a Manchester United. Jordan Pickford or a goalkeeper might be another one for me. And I'll be saving one more possibly for a second Manchester City on Thursday as well. That's why, mate. This is big entry point, primarily Newcastle, Manchester United, and back to Manchester City on Thursday as well. Alan Holohan says, hi James, I know your preference due to your team, but do you think it's close between Munoz and Diaz versus Trent and Elise? Of course it is. Of course it is. I easily could have gone the other way on that. You know what my preference is because it's there, right? I wouldn't say it's pretty much a 50-50 because I've gone one way rather than the other, and I'm not sitting here going, I can't make my mind up. Although I also, you know me, once I make a decision, that's the end of it, basically. So it's a 60-40 for me, Alan. But yeah, yeah, that's fine. You want to go the other way, it's perfectly reasonable, mate. AB says, hi James, hope all is well. What's your expected minutes on Saka versus Salah? Captaincy in mind. Prefer Saka fixtures with Wolves injuries. PS enjoying the colour coordination with the wall. The wall doesn't change colour. And this is the shirt I put on. It wasn't intentionally anything to do with the wall. It definitely wasn't a choice. Oh, let's put a shirt on. That one. I don't give these things much thought. But thank you. You know, if you're getting joy out of it. Saka, I think will there's every chance we'll play more minutes than Salah. But, massive caveat. If Arsenal got themselves into a really comfortable lead tonight, in which case he may have already done damage, but don't be surprised if it's like the Sheffield United game and he comes off at half-time. That's all I'd say to that. And under that circumstance, then suddenly I think Salah is probably more for minutes. Gavin Richardson says Bruno Fernandes over Diaz as a sneaky differential. I'll be confirming my team with 5 to go. Make sure, folks, don't forget, sort your team, smash a like. Thank you, Gavin. Which Diaz? I don't mind it. Like, how many times have we sat here over the years and watched single game week players with good fixtures tear it up versus those with doubles? Like, you want to go down that path, mate? You go down that path. I'm not going to talk you out of it. I think it would be perfectly reasonable to play Haaland, Foden, Palmer, Watkins, Bruno Fernandes, Garnacho. It would be perfectly reasonable to play these guys this week. It's not like oh my God, you've got to have the doublers. And me in my position, I'm going for it. I'm going for it. Who's next? Ben Wardrop says on free hit, but still wanting to play Watkins or Bruno. Can't pick between the two. Well, I would say on that is would go Watkins. Slightly put off by the minutes yesterday, but I give Villa's predicted team line quite a bit of fault, and I think that it's free midweek afterwards. I think they'll try and get through it, and it would be a surprise if Watkins didn't play. So I think Watkins. With Bruno, the one difference between him and a Garnacho is you do know he'll play, unless he gets injured on Sunday. It's a certainty. Whereas with a Garnacho, like, could he be rested? Sure, but I'll be honest, the only single game week player who was close to coming in on my free hit team was Ollie Watkins. The extra time, admittedly, was enough for me to go, it's not going to be for me. Ben says, actually didn't think of the cup. Watkins probably better then. He's answered his own question. Ewan O'Donovan says, hi James, not on free hit. Should I start 8 Nori in case he gets more minutes than expected? Or play Kirkes instead? Alternatively, take a hit for Munoz. Thanks for the great work every week. So look, I explained earlier that I really like Kirkes' potential this week. He could play on the left side of midfield, essentially as a left winger. But I also think particularly the game tomorrow is a fair chance he doesn't start. But I think he would start at least one, and we couldn't say that about 8 Nori at the moment. So is a Crystal Palace defender worth a hit over Kirkes under that scenario? Probably not. I would play Kirkes, I think, under that situation, mate. Baron Baines says, sorry, saw my question was answered on screen. That's okay, mate, no probs. Shafiq says, hey James, thoughts about Jota? Just back from injury, and personally would have enough concerns about expected minutes this week to not want to go there. It was never under real consideration for me. Love him as a player, know his capabilities, would be staggered if he started twice. Alistair Moscaza says, smash a like, everyone. Thank you. Adrian Farouk says, any thoughts on who I should play out of 8 Nori, Zabani or Maguire? Zabani's got the definitive 2 games, mate. Andre Braga says, Havertz and Henderson or Eze and Raya. Eze and Raya for me. Phil26599 says, didn't know Cunha's been reflagged. Worth a risk on free hit. He's out, mate. He's out. It's definitive. Gary O'Neill has said he's not playing today. He's out. And I would suggest he probably won't play on Wednesday either. Voyas Verta says, hi James, taking a -4 to go from 7 doublers to 10. Should I go Munoz, Eze, Darwin in with Isak making way, or Virgil, Eze, Darwin in with Haaland going out? Context here, we wildcarding afterwards or not? Because the absolute biggest one here is that you want Alexander Isak, I think, in game week 35 from that lot. And therefore, under your circumstance, you wouldn't be going if you're carrying through. Command Man, Palmer to Elise for a -4, only if you wildcarding in 35, in my opinion. Connell Hooley, because you're absolutely reversing it, aren't you? Otherwise, and if you're going anything else as a transfer next week, whereas because you sold Palmer that costs you another -4, it's actually effective -8, so no. Connell Hooley says, start Palmer or Cunha. Currently I'm on Palmer. So we suddenly got the crowd in who doesn't know that Matthias Cunha is out. It's not even a conversation, mate. Rowan Regmi says, Foden to Luis Diaz for a hit. Do you think Foden gets rested against Chelsea tonight, considering he played full 120 and start against Brighton? Yes, I think that's the most likely scenario, but I'm not Pep, mate. Eddie says, what percentage chance would you put on Trent starting both games? Cheers. Dan Lord said on COTC yesterday 70%. I wouldn't put it at better than 50 personally. Shout out to Will Shaw. Hope you're well. John says, good luck with your free hit. Estimated minutes for McBurney. Smash the like, guys. 110 to 120. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't start both. He certainly, let me put it this way, Ronnie McBurney. He will not play Manchester United and Newcastle Wednesday night and then Saturday. Absolutely certain of that. Danny says, which Liverpool defence, Robertson or Alisson? Robertson's the upside, mate. Alisson's your minutes. Jay says, best third Liverpool option. I mean, I've gone for free on a free hit, mate, so my feelings are pretty clear. Avis says, hi, James. Should I play Semenyo and Chris Richards, or might do a -4 to bring in Mateta and Munoz? What do you suggest? I don't mind playing Semenyo particularly. Can you just go Richards to Munoz? Phil26599 thinks I'm a doctor. Says, will Branthwaite and Aït-Nouri make it? I'm pretty confident that Branthwaite will play, just because I know that Sean Dyche will be desperate for him to play tomorrow. Aït-Nouri, Gary O'Neill said, maximum 45 minutes. Got to take his word on that. Excuse me. Dave Boy 223 says, hey James, Bradley to Munoz or VVD? And is Mateta worth a hit instead of Garnacho? Home to Sheffield. Wild card next week. Thanks and good luck this week. I mean, look, VVD I think is the right call there, personally. Is Mateta worth a hit over Garnacho? Well, I presume you're not selling Garnacho as part of that. It's not quite clear, but yeah, sure, why not? Voyas Verta says, sorry for a second question, but do you prefer Diaz and Mateta or Darwin and Eze? Well, there's 3 of them are in my team, so there's your answer, I think, mate. But I counter that by saying Eze would be the absolute priority for me. Out of your options there, I actually prefer Eze and Mateta, by the way. But I don't know if you can do that. Michael O'Hare says, hello James, I want to punt something on a free hit. Would a double game week like McBurney, be better than a single game week like Watkins or Bruno? Thanks for the content. Smash the like, people. No. Listen, if you've got McBurney in, you're going to play him, right? Because he's got the double. But I've not thought about Oliver McBurney for 1 minute. You can guarantee he's going to be the highest scoring player in the game now this week. But I'm not, even with Cunha and looking at him, there's no forwards I want. I wouldn't have considered him for a second, mate. No. Danny says, start Chan or Nuri. I mean, Huang. It's got to be, isn't it? Huang. In fact, no. What Gary O'Neill said on Aït-Nouri, to clarify earlier, was Aït-Nouri might make the bench. What he said about Huang was maximum 45 minutes. But Huang will start against Bournemouth. That's more likely, so I think it's Huang. Super Scotty Squad says, I haven't done an early trade all year and broke my rule and did Muniz to Cunha on Wednesday. I'm so annoyed at myself. Use my free transfers to do Cunha to Mateta. No wildcard. Yeah, get it done, mate. The thing is, Scott, what you can do is you can go into like decision. It's like a blocker, right? Where you're like, well, I've made one bad decision. It's not bad, right? It's hindsight. You weren't to know that. I know. Why would you have thought something would be wrong with Cunha? Like, I don't hate it. It's just unlucky rather than a bad decision. But okay, that's not gone in your favour. The worst thing to do would be not acknowledge that and fix it. So yeah, you should make the move and go Mateta, mate. Vishnu says, hi James, I'll be captain Elise and going without Saka and instead have Sarabia and Odegaard. Even gone for Watkins over Solanke up front. This is the week for me. Good luck, Vishnu. Patrons, we're obviously not expecting anything pre-deadline, but if there is, do drop us a little tag. If there's any Ivan Toney news knocking about, for example, I'm sure that'll be useful for 1 or 2 people, perhaps. Rick D says, occurred to me listening to the Clash of Correspondence this week, what a natural interviewer you are. Ever thought about a talk show career? Top work. Cheers, mate. Appreciate it. I mean, if somebody wants to give me a shitload of money to be a talk show host, yeah, cool. Let's do it. Bye-bye, Such. It's not one of which I'm going to start a talk show. Like, it doesn't really work like that, does it? But I appreciate the kind sentiment, mate. Thank you. Rhett says, with clean sheets being few and far between this season, any thought to overloading on all Arsenal defence, rare since Wolves are down? Yeah, you want to go triple Arsenal defence? I'm not going to tell anyone not to do that, mate. It's fine. It's okay. It's all good in the hood. Avis says, Salah good for a triple captain or Palmer next week? My preference would be Palmer in 35. Genuinely would be. Palmer's going to get you close to 180. against wide open Tottenham. I genuinely prefer it. I genuinely prefer Palmer next week to Salah this week. Andrew Sands says, how much has Trent not being in the team had an effect on Salah's performances? Has he been more conscious of defensive duties with Bradley in the team? No, I don't think so. I think even what can happen when Trent plays is Salah can even end up wider, but the delivery of ball over the top from Trent is obviously extraordinary when it's good. Howard Green says, good luck here. He's hoping for a good free hit week. Free hit 35. Bench boost 37. Good luck, Howard. Joel Holland says, hi, mate. White and Neto. Or Raya and Munoz. I mean, from that, Raya and Munoz, actually. Yeah. Gurev says, hi, James. What to do with Tony, Semenyo, and Morgan Gibbs-White? Have to play two of them. Take hits for Elise and Matete. Wildcard 35. Yeah, go for it, mate. Get the Palace boys in. What's the worst thing that'll happen? They'll be shit. Gavin Richardson says, Sky Fantasy question. With the effective removal of blanks and doubles from next season, is it time we all moved over to Sky Fantasy? You seem to enjoy that more. It's because it's a better game, mate. And I'm not shy in telling people that. I have no qualms. I enjoy Sky Fantasy way more than FPL, personally. It's the thinking manager's fantasy football game. That's I think Luke Williams coined that phrase. Sorry to nick it from him. And Luke is extraordinarily good at Sky Fantasy as well, of course. Yeah, UK resident play Sky Fantasy. I can't recommend Sky Fantasy enough for anyone who lives in the UK, honestly. Vishnu says, thoughts on Sarabia this week? Are there better picks this week, considering I've got up to 12 million for this midfield spot? Yes, there are, mate. Otherwise, he'd be in my free hit team, in my opinion. OP Talent says, free hit, Robbo and Elise on Munoz and Luis Diaz. Well, two of them I've gone for on free hit, and the other two I haven't. So the answer's on the screen, my friend. The Blubber King says, hi, James. Worth going Zabani and Gordon, or Robertson and Havertz from -4. Zabani and Gordon to Robertson and Havertz from -4. I wouldn't bother with the Zabani to Robertson move, genuinely. Gordon to Havertz, fine. Or just get Trent for free and stick with 2 Arsenal. Already have VVD. I mean, if you can go Trent and get the Arsenal, I think it's worth the -4, personally. Super Sam Plays says, is it worth going for Watkins on free hit? Can't bring myself to be starting him over Mateta, so is it worth having him first bench? Cheers. Watkins was a big consideration first sub for me, Sam. Yeah, I don't mind that. Phil C says, hi, James. Would like to hear your thoughts on wildcard 36 over 35 with you to bench boost 37 for someone well stocked with Tottenham and Chelsea. Well, it's answering your own question, isn't it, Phil? If you've got 6 Tottenham and Chelsea in place and you've got good Manchester United and good Newcastle coverage, then that's it, 36. Fine. It's always going to be circumstantial based on someone's own individual team. But I would suggest if you don't have any Newcastle and don't have any Manchester United, actually, you might want to look again. Trini says, Robbo versus VVD. I've gone VVD, mate. Owen Jones says, hey, James, great to see your face, buddy. Which two? Elise Saliba versus Odegaard Munoz. It's close. Odegaard Munoz. I mean, that's the way I've gone, right? Rhett says, do you have any preference for FPL Gameweeks for being normal service versus being chip heavy as a content creator? Seems horribly repetitive when we're all on the same chip. Yeah, I mean, I know what I'm going to get when I do this sort of stream, right? It's going to be a lot of similar questions, so I'm ready for that in my mind, and I know that unfortunately that's the way it's going to be. But then it's almost like if someone did come in and go, hey, James, I want to buy Nicholas Jackson this week, I would be like, what are you doing, mate? You know, it's on 9 yellow cards, he's playing Arsenal away, what are you doing? Oh, but he's got a double next week. Yeah, but don't do it this week, right? So it's natural that people are all going to head in a similar direction and go towards the same players. So I understand that. Is it more enjoyable in terms of these streams, particularly when it's like people generally don't have a clue who to go for? Yeah, it is. Yeah, the more conflicting and difficult the decision-making process is, yeah, for me, I would say fair enough, the more enjoyable. It's not that this is bad, by the way. Good question. Owen Jones says, I know your answer anyway, just saw your side, have a great weekend. At least Spurs can't bring you to tears this weekend. They don't make me cry, mate, but thank you. Will Clement says, Branthwaite and Gordon to White and Sarabia from -4. It's Branthwaite and Gordon to White and Sarabia from -4, or just Gordon to Eze, wildcard next week. Gordon to Eze, Will. Ali McDonald says, if you like Elise, Jota, Trent on free hit, would you only pick one because of minutes risk? You want to go all of them? You go all of them, mate. I'll repeat again for those coming in late. every Liverpool player is a minutes risk this week. Birth Media says, who do you bench between Foden, Hall and Palmer? With reluctance, Palmer. Mark Falivena says, hi James, thanks for the content. On bench boost, selling Tony Bradley, Rico Lewis for Mateta, White and one other low-cost defender. Have Branthwaite and Munoz. Thinking Senesi, Wolves defender. I'd prefer Senesi, mate. Ashley Buckley wants to go Eze captain. Good luck if you do, mate. Fighter Jet says, hi James, would you play Palmer or Branthwaite? The doubler, mate. Driss says, would you go Haaland and Pau Torres to Mateta and VVD Trent for a -4? VVD Trent would push Zabani to the bench. I'd want to get Mateta in, but that's really borderline on the -4 for the Liverpool player. Thanks, Joe, by the way. I can see your work is appreciated, mate. Driss says, that's what I've done. It's tough. I'd probably leave it, personally. I'd be looking to get an offensive Liverpool player more, I think. For Remy FC says, Darwin and Brereton Diaz plus Raya or Neto goalkeeper. Okay. I'm like, who's Neto plus Havertz and Jota? So it's Diaz, and Raya, or Neto the goalkeeper, Havertz and Jota. Option A, mate, for me. Hunter Serin says, sell Foden or Haaland for a third Liverpool. I mean, do you need to bring it straight back? Foden's going to be an easier sell, possibly, under that circumstance. Vishnu says, biggest differentials to go for and free hit this week. Surely, Vishnu, I've pretty much mentioned every player worth considering this week. And some are differentials and some aren't. Some are in my team. Aaron Mamoliti says, hey James, love the content. Would you start Zabani, Garnacho or Palmer, the doubler? Phil C says, sorry, bit niche, but best bench defenders on 3-5-2, free hit. Currently have Tarko first, but playing Pickford seems an unnecessary risk of having double Everton this week. The chances of you getting a defender off the bench are unlikely unless you're sitting with Ray and 8 Norrie in your team. In which case you might want to look at a different player. But it's still going to be kind of order of defensive this week. For me, Arsenal, Liverpool, Palace, Bournemouth, Everton, Wolves, Sheffield United. That's the order. Yankee Gruber says, what about Havertz as captain when chasing in the middle leagues? I haven't got him in my predicted Arsenal team this evening. It's just a personal opinion. I think he could get rested. So, not massively keen. And I can only tell it on my own opinion. Nigel Sam says, hey James, Senesi and Alisson or Trent and Neto. Good luck this week. Trent and Neto. There's more risk, but yeah. Neighbour Bond says, would you sell Semenyo to Solanke from -4? Probably not, actually. Ala Turner says, good luck, James, for this week. 1 free transfer between Solanke or Mateta. You've been without Solanke all these weeks. Now you want to go. I mean, he's still a consistent horse. He'll be in nearly everybody's free hit team. Excuse me. CDM Bluebird says, -4. Norrie to Palace defender, play Norrie or bench and play Burn. I mean, I'd just play Norrie anyway over someone like Dan Burn. I'd risk it. I'd risk it and not do it. Noel Cummins says, I'm sure you probably explained already, but why Odegaard over Havertz? Havertz a minute's worry, you reckon? There you go. No, you just got the explanation about 60 seconds ago. Good luck. Pawan says, he's got his whole team. Any changes you can suggest, please, on a free hit? Yeah, my free hit team's on screen, mate. So, listen, if I'm advising someone else on a free hit, I'm just going to lead them to what my decisions are, right? It'd be weird if I didn't. My Callis P says, Cliver or Eze? Eze, mate. Dragos B, hi James. Morris to Mateta from -4 is worth it. I'm going to say yes. NT says, hey James, bench boosting, 1 free left. Worth keeping 8 Norrie in the hope he starts second game. Or go Mikalenko, someone else. Maxed on Arsenal, Liverpool, Palace already. Want to ideally keep 2 free for 35. Yeah, but for a bench boost, your max as well, Arsenal, Liverpool, Palace. Is it worth going like 8 Norrie to like a Bournemouth defender? Or a Mikalenko? I think I'd leave it. Naya Bond says, would you sell Semenyo? I've done that one, mate. Cool Inc says, hey James, start 1 Solanke or Mateta. I mean, it's going to be Solanke, isn't it? But by the way, I'd start Mateta over Haaland. Triple Trapson says, question for after the FPL, you said you've got a feeling Chelsea win today. Who do you think wins the FA Cup this year? Same team, Chelsea. Tommaso says, start Watkins or Mateta. Mateta. David James Whiteway, chasing in Mini League. Havertz captain versus Mo. Not keen, I've explained. Nelds says, Darwin and Foden or Haaland and Munoz. I mean, still Darwin, despite the frustrations, is still Darwin Núñez under that. We're about 2 minutes to deadline, guys, so please do be getting your teams locked in at this juncture. If I haven't got to your question by this point, I'm clearly not going to at this stage. J. Lord Broski, my friend, says no free hit, but 50-50 Isak or Palmer. Don't know why everyone's hyper on Palace. I think they don't win either game. Probably go my boy Isak. Away the lads. Yeah, I would go Isak, mate. FPL Maestro says start 8 Nori or Zabani. It's Zabani at this minute. Alex Trembar says hello, James. Do you think people might be overlooking an opportunity for Bournemouth attack more than just Solanke versus tired Villa and depleted Wolves? Lots of focus on Palace. Is this a blind spot? It might be, mate, but the reality is it's still away to the 4th best team in the country at the moment, Aston Villa. And then it's a 3-day turnaround to Wolves. Plus, there's people's experience of the rotation from the last double, and I think there could still be some in this one as well. Not as much because they haven't got as many players available, but then there's that, missing a few key players. I've said, if it works for people to go for like Kluivert, Semenyo, I don't mind it, but I don't know where it gets fit in. I wouldn't pick Semenyo over Mateta, and I wouldn't pick Kluivert over Eze. That's my personal. But yeah, I don't mind Bournemouth itself. I've got to. James Morrison says, why do you have Neto over Pickford? All in strategy, simple as that. I haven't got any Villa or Wolves players going against Neto. If I had Pickford, I'd have Liverpool attackers going against him. It's an all in strat. It's as simple as that. You prefer Pickford, go Pickford. Louis Reddington says, thoughts on Coventry beating United tomorrow? Unlikely, unfortunately. Niz says, good evening from New Zealand. McBurney or Mateta and bench Haaland. Really? Mateta, mate. IB says, I have 2 Bournemouth defence playing right now due to injuries, etc. Do I take a hit to take out one for a Palace Liverpool defence? No, crack on, get on with it. Connor Hooley, Cunha only has a bruised calf. He's not been ruled out of the Bournemouth game as far as I know. Well, according to Gary O'Neill yesterday, he was. Sigurd Wassenden says, hello, mate. What do you think about Gabriel Jesus' minutes this week? 110, 20? Rajesh says start Semenyo or Palmer, the doubler, mate. The Bapria Day says please select one for free hit. My free hit team's on the screen. Good luck, mate. Roberto Cana says start 8 Nori or Zabani. Paniotis says would you take a -4 and sell Hwang for Brereton Diaz? Thank you, no. Aya says thinking to go Palace heavy, Mateta, Eze, Henderson for Haaland, Son, Kelleher and -8 and then wildcard 35. I don't mind. Murray Defoe says Haaland or Tony, -4 and 10 doublers. It's got to be Tony out as it stands without info. Mr. Darren DML James, please provide some perspective for your choice on Odegaard v Havertz. I have about 10 times, mate. Roberto Carner says Zabani or 8 Nori to bench. Done this one. Ethan McCullough, any Tony news? No. Mohamed Haraki says Munoz and Lewis or Robertson and Elise. Munoz and Lewis or Robertson and Elise. Munoz and Lewis. That's what I've gone with. We are at deadline. If anyone's got any non-FPL questions, throw them in now. Sorry to Gavin, CDN, Ali, Sean. Didn't quite get to you. I see Sean's got a Sky question. Ali, no on DCL would have been my answer. CDN, you're very welcome. Gavin says, oh my God, my free hit's so lame. Boring as hell, but what will be will be. Looking forward to pressing the wildcard button as soon as the game updates. Have a great week in and out of FPL. You too, mate. Sean says, hi James, Sky question. Worth captain Eze over Salah tomorrow? For me, no, but I would captain Watkins over Salah tomorrow in Sky. Andy Ken says, deadline. Good luck, everyone. Thank you, guys. If you came just for the FPL stuff, smash a like, hit the sub button on your way out. If anyone's got any non-FPL questions, happy to cover them for sort of 10, 15 minutes or so. Before you go, content for next week. I can tell you there will be a deadline stream next Saturday morning at the earlier time, of course, of 10 a.m. UK time before the 11 o'clock deadline. The early kickoff is West Ham versus Liverpool next Saturday. Game review podcast for you this week on Monday and Friday. So the 7 weekend games reviewed on Monday and then the 6 midweek games reviewed on Friday. 2 Clash of the Correspondents for you, very importantly, ahead of Gameweek 35 on Tuesday. Brighton versus Manchester City with Sam Murray and Johnny Pringle. And on Thursday, Chelsea versus Tottenham with Gary Mansell and Ricky Saunders. Sky Fantasy Football Podcast, as per usual, on Wednesday. If you want to support the show, it's www.patreon.com/planetfpl. Additional 5 podcasts a week available from Intermediate Plus tier. They will be this week a Q&A on Monday, a Last Man Standing quiz on Tuesday, Tottenham I think on Wednesday, might be Tottenham Arse instead, not sure. Thursday, Money in Football is probably going to be on this FA Cup announcement, and Friday will be our Gameweek 35 preview podcast. Advanced tier, there will also be additional video content, also includes a Zoom call with me at some point during the week as well. If you're sick of adverts on YouTube, you can sign up from basic tier and you get the shit without the ads as well. There you go, it's nice, isn't it? So it's something for everyone. You want to join our Slack community, that's available from basic plus tier, and you also get 1 additional podcast a week as well. That's the sell. Let's do the questions. Andy Ken says, still time to pick a FPL challenge team. I'd rather go to sleep, mate. Reece C says, non-fantasy question, what positions you want Spurs to prioritise in the summer? Midfield and attack. And we must get a backup goalkeeper. Because that hasn't been a problem because Vic has played, but we must get a backup goalkeeper as well. But 6 and 8, possibly a 10, possibly a wide player, possibly a forward. We need better attacking players on the ball. I think that's quite clear, actually. Berth Media says 2 things. With Spurs not playing, what are you going to do with yourself this weekend and midweek? Certainly, what advice would you give a newlywed? In terms of advice for a newlywed, get divorced, mate. Especially if she's got more money than you. Listen, in serious, just carry on. Like, why did you get married in the first place? Don't treat each other differently. That would be the big advice. Just be the same. What am I doing this weekend? Not a lot, unfortunately, because Harry, bless him, has been quite sick most of the week, but he's much better this morning, so we'll probably take him out a bit later. I'll probably watch the football later, although I'm really not asked about watching Arsenal tonight, because I know they'll win comfortably. I'll try and catch the 2 Premier League games. I say I'll try. I will catch the 2 Premier League games tomorrow. Everton Forest and Fulham Liverpool, maybe take him out in the middle of that quick as well. So yeah, not a lot is the honest answer for this particular weekend. Liam H says, do you think Kane will be more fired up for the Euros if they fail to win the Champions League, or more fired up if they win it? I think a difference, mate. It'd be fired up to lead England to glory either way. I've said this a few times. I hope Bayern win it from here. I mean, I'd prefer Dortmund to win it because it'd just be a great story for football. But I hope Harry wins it. And people, Kane's cursed and all this shit. It's nonsense. Like, I hope he wins it. Super Scotty Squad says, cheers James, love your content, thanks for your in-depth answer to my question. You're very welcome, have a good weekend. Sean says, hi James, non-FPL, how did the new ground impact ticket prices at Spurs? Getting fear about my season ticket getting absolutely hiked if United do end up in a new ground. I mean, that's a given, mate. Absolute given. And unfortunately, as a Manchester United fan, you know that you'll fill the ground no matter what, right? And that's what's happened with Tottenham now, so there's justification for the prices. This is what I always say, right? I don't moan about it because I'll pay it. Unfortunately, I still think the stuff with the concessions, which I've covered previously, is pretty fucking bad. But yeah, you are going to get hiked if you get a new stadium. Certainty. Who's going to pay for it? Well, Ineos partly, maybe the government partly if they get their way. But yeah, of course you are. Of course you are. I don't know what the average season ticket price at Manchester United is, but you can expect where you're going to go over the next few years. If that happens, you can expect it to be double, and I'm afraid to tell you that. So, I was paying, I think, sort of 700-800 at White Hart Lane. Then similar at Wembley. I think the prices were frozen. Despite technically you're getting a better stadium, better seat. And mine's moving into the 1400 category now. Admittedly, I've got a seat on the side now rather than behind the goal. I do have a very good seat, but it's not a premium seat or anything like that. So there you go, sort of 700-800 to like 1400. Now, of course, you know, inflation's gone kind of whack over the last 8 years as well, right? So there's that. But I'm not going to paint it any other way, Sean. If you get a brand new spanking stadium, you will have a massive jump. And by the way, you're probably going to get a big jump soon anyway. Motta says, bro, even Matt Hummel's been cooking us this week. Ben Edinson says, hi James, what's one player, doesn't have to be current, that was very widely rated but you just never saw what others did? I mentioned Juan Pablo Angel a couple of weeks ago, and the Villa guys came hunting for me, so I'm not going to go there again. It's difficult, right? Because I could even say Steven Gerrard loved a Hollywood pass. I did this on the Nico's Corner race, and it was like, he loved a Hollywood pass. Couldn't play a fucking 10-yard pass. Loved a Hollywood pass, but then quite often it worked. But it used to do my head in when I watched him for England. But kick the fucking ball, mate. But of course, Steven Gerrard was a great player. So it's a terrible example. I'll give you a Tottenham one, who people used to go nuts over around Tottenham. And he was a great player for us, but I was never as high as anybody else, was Robbie Keane. Loved him, but he was like a god to like fans at the time. And I didn't see it that way. I saw him as a very, very good player, but I wasn't kind of into this worship thing that seemed to be going on at the time. FPL Gold Galazzo says, smash the like, you mugs. Have a great game week. Top advisor, you too, buddy. Gavin Richardson says, non-FPL, how are you feeling about Spurs on the run in tough fixtures? Sun out of sorts. You should still get fifth unless my team wins every game. Yeah, you would hope that if it came to it, and even if we lost the 4 difficult games, you would hope that we would beat Burnley and Sheffield United and get to 66. That then means that Manchester United or Newcastle would have to win every game, basically, to finish above us. Newcastle, I think, could afford to draw one because of goal difference. So you'd hope that in terms of Europa League qualification, at a minimum, that's at least done. But yeah, I've been quite clear on some of the content I've done this week that I think if Villa win tomorrow, that's 4th is finished. I think the way it's even opened up for them, that the remaining fixtures, although not the easiest on paper, I've already said I wouldn't be surprised they beat Liverpool in 37 now. Chelsea could be off the back of an FA Cup semi-final victory and then playing Arsenal. Yeah, I can see them doing really well in the home games that are left. And Brighton and Palace away aren't overly scary, although they are both losable, let's say. If they don't win tomorrow, then the nervousness will perhaps creep back in. And then if they didn't beat Chelsea, then you'd favour it probably to be us again, even with the fixtures left. But the reality is Villa can go 9 points clear before we play again. I mean, if that happens, it's done. It's literally, even with us having, what would we have from that point? We'd have 3 games in hand. But them games in hand include, like, the games in hand would be Arsenal at home, Chelsea away, Manchester City at home. And we've still got to go to Liverpool over that run as well. Like, it'd be done, it'd be finished. So, as I said, I think if Villa win tomorrow, that's it. I've also discussed this on our Patreon pods. I think Villa probably deserve it. And listen, the table won't lie at the end of the season. If they cock it up and we do well in these big games, then we will instead. But they deserve their position at the moment. And also, I've used the analogy of Arsenal when they finished 5th behind us a couple of years ago, and it really benefiting them then in the 22-23 season to actually push for the title. And I'm not suggesting Tottenham would push for the title next year, but that's all Ange's thinking about, is winning the big. He's always thinking about winning trophies. He keeps saying it. 4th is nothing to me. Like, I don't care. And I think for what's a relatively small squad in terms of the quality, once you jump outside the 11, certain positions are just not replaceable, particularly in the back line at the moment. That the jump to Champions League football might be a bit too big. Whereas in Europa League, you can mix and match. You should be able to get through the group stage without too much concern. It might benefit us. It might benefit us in the long run to go into the Europa League next year. Of course, I want to finish 4th. I'm not saying I don't. I absolutely do. But those who listen to me in August, September, remember how many times I said it really doesn't matter where we finish this season. We're on the start of a journey, and this journey's been good no matter what happens over the next couple of weeks. And I think now we can see where, someone already asked about what improvements we need. Yeah, we still need a lot. And I think I kind of trust the club to begin to get it right and start on this process that I hope is going to mean that not next year, but in 2 or 3 years, that we can at least challenge for the title. That's more important than what happens in the immediate, which then might be 1 step forwards or 2 steps back, because to balance Champions League and Premier League would be tough. If you have that transition like Arsenal did last year, it's not calling Arsenal lucky or anything, not at all. It's just you're going from small squad to bigger squad to better quality squad, whereas Tottenham will have to jump straight in over, and it's probably too much. So I don't even think it necessarily be a bad thing if we finish 5th. So I've said this on the Patreon pods as well. It just doesn't matter in the way it has done in the past. It just doesn't. Under context, like, we got to win now, and Mourinho the same and stuff like that. It doesn't feel like that. It feels like we all acknowledge we're at the start of something. And And if we finish 5th again next year, that probably will get in the Champions League next year. I don't think it'll be many years that it lands like this where the English clubs won't get the extra place, actually. Who's next? Rhett says most overrated Spurs player the last 10 years. Tough. Tough. Son. Rough that, isn't it? Connell Hooley has put in there O'Neill quote on Cunha. We'll see him again this season. We don't know when it is. It could be Wednesday if everything goes well. Don't get me wrong, I kept him on the bench. It's unlikely he plays. Yeah, I'm saying, Connell, that he's ruled out of today. Never said anything about Wednesday. He was ruled out of today. So you're not going to have him on a free hit. It's been and gone. If you've done it, you've done it. Good luck. Holby Addict says, cheers for the info, James. Your content is top tier. Good luck this game. Thank you. Patrick Lawson says, if you had to have your toilet seat in a colour other than white, which colour would you choose? I've never thought about that, mate. Not brown, because then if you had a mishap, you might not notice. Gavin says, how was your trip to Newcastle last weekend? I loved the tone. Weather was good, atmosphere was good, nice flag display. Did you notice the crowd get louder when Maddison was not yellow carded? The atmosphere was great before game. It was great at 0-0, and obviously it was very good after Newcastle got in front as well. Best atmosphere from a home team I've experienced this year. I'm not having the scoreline affects that, because as I said previously, it was like a graveyard at Fulham when Fulham beat us 3-0, so it doesn't make a difference. The atmosphere up there was very good. I do like it up at Newcastle. Love the city. Can't go like 20 yards without seeing a good bar and stuff. So that was up with my dad's. It wasn't like a drinking sesh or anything. And after the game, it was straight out and stuff. But I've spent time in Newcastle before. Love it as a city. James Brennan says, hi James, are you an English club, not Arsenal obviously, to win the Champions League kind of guy? Would you rather see anyone but Spurs lose? No, probably better example would be, let's take Villa in the Conference League. You're saying to me, would you like Villa to win it, or do you hope they lose? I mean, the honest answer from that perspective is I don't care. I don't care. If they win it, like, congratulations, good luck to them. If they don't, I certainly wouldn't be sad about it either. So couldn't really care. On Arsenal, it's like, yeah, get them out. Chelsea, West Ham is obviously a bit of a rivalry, so I'd probably prefer them to go out as well. I'd probably be more against them for, if I'm honest. But it's just how it's always been, I think, for most people like me. Ian from Melbourne says, some of your favourite Spurs FA Cup replay moments. Replay moments, I'd tell you, to stand out by a mile. Came to my head straight away was 5th round replay against Leeds in 1999. Leeds had a very good team building under David O'Leary at the time, and we won 2-0. They were better than us at the time, with 2 disgusting goals. Darren Anderton scored from about 35 yards off the post, and David Ginola scored this beautiful, the ball was crossed over and it got cleared up out of the air, and Ginola on the run buried it on the volley first time into the bottom corner. But that was a really good night. It's one of my favourite Spurs games, actually. So that, comfortably that one. Quarter-final replay against Fulham in 2010. As well, so we went 1-0 down that night, so it had the come from behind victories are always kind of better for your memory, I think, and stuff. But the Leeds one, 99, it would be that comfortably by a distance, mate. In terms of games I was at, of course, another one to throw in is Ronnie Rosenthal's hat-trick at Southampton in 95. Simon Kurtz says, feel like Spurs are missing a higher footballing IQ striker to complement these speedsters around. Who would you like in the summer? Would personally go for Tony. If Tottenham bought Tony, would I be upset about it? No. I think the answer quite often doesn't lie in players we know, it's players we don't know. So I don't think Tottenham will be going for someone like that, personally. Rhett says, any further advancement on Harry's Tottenham fandom, trying to get mine into Liverpool but more into Thomas the Tank Engine? Yeah, not massively, mate. We were having a little kick around at the football, little small football last night. And I bought the flag home from the women's game, and he's been running around with that. So slow, but he's not going to get pushed into it, mate. Tom Sleeman says, how do we get Palmer into the England team? By Gareth Southgate picking him, mate. It can work. I discussed an idea on our Patreon Q&A on Wednesday about Bukayo Saka at left back. Don't shoot me. I'm just saying that's one way. Jedi Stew says, Sir Jim shouldn't build Wembley of the North, but a Bernabeu of the North. Roof, video wall, and add a retractable surface for exhibitions and concerts. I imagine that probably is more of an idea than Wembley. But it's easier to say Wembley in the media, isn't it? Greg Frost says, best of luck all. Great show. Cheers. Thank you. Last one, HK says, Ante always worked out by other teams now. Spurs will finish mid-table next season and Ange will get sacked. Cheers, mate. Thanks for making my weekend. Have a good one. Right, that's brilliant, guys. Smash the like, hit the sub button. Have a great weekend. Arrows are green. Suj and I will be back for the Game Review pod on Monday. Ciao for now.